In 1969, Dodge built a car that dealers could not sell. Today, it is a $1 million trophy. Welcome back to Big Block Radio. The Daytona exists because Chrysler was losing. In 1968 and 69, NASCAR was an aerodynamics war. Ford rolled out the sleek Torino Talladega, Mercury, the Cyclone, spoiler 2. Droop-nosed fastbacks that cut clean through the air. Chrysler's teams could not keep up. The standard Charger was gorgeous and aerodynamically awful. That tunneled grille acted like a parachute. The recessed rear window created lift right where the car needed grip. Winning on Sunday still sold cars on Monday, and Chrysler was losing its Sundays. Dodge's first fix was the Charger 500. Flush grille, flush rear glass. It helped, and it still was not enough. So the engineers stopped compromising. Working from wind tunnel data with an outside firm called Creative Industries, they grafted an 18-inch sheet metal nose cone onto the front and stood a wing roughly 2 feet tall over the back. NASCAR's rules required at least 500 street examples, so Dodge built them. Barely. Everything strange about this car has an engineering reason. The steel nose cone smoothed airflow and added front downforce, with pop-up headlights preserving street usability. The rear-facing fender scoops relieved pressure and cleared the tires, and the wings stood 2 feet tall for two very practical reasons. It put the airfoil up into clean, undisturbed air, and it left the trunk lid free to open. Dodge built just 503 Charger Daytonas for 1969, the minimum needed to satisfy NASCAR. Roughly 70 carried the 426 Hemi. The rest ran the 440 Magnum, rated at 375 horsepower. Underneath the nose and the wing, these were fully equipped Chargers, automatics, creature comforts, a NASCAR homologation device that could idle through a burger stand, and then they sat. Buyers in 1969 wanted a Charger that looked like a Charger, not a science experiment with a beak. Dealers discounted them, and wing cars lingered unsold for months, while ordinary RTs moved off the same lot. On track, the wing cars delivered immediately. A Daytona won the model's very first outing at the inaugural Talladega 500 in September of 1969. And in March of 1970, Buddy Baker took one past 200 miles an hour. The first time any car had broken that barrier in NASCAR competition. The sanctioning body had seen enough. For 1971, it cut the aero cars to roughly 305 cubic inches. Nobody could race around that. Do not confuse it with the Superbird. That is a 1970 Plymouth built on the Roadrunner, created in part to bring Richard Petty back to the brand. Plymouth built roughly 1,900 of them, nearly 4 times the Daytona's run. Every Superbird wears a vinyl roof, a different nose, and a wing with more sweep in its uprights. Buy one today, and documentation decides everything. Broadcast sheets, fender tags, known ownership history. That is what separates a real wing car from a tribute. The car dealers could not give away is now the crown jewel of any Mopar collection. Verified, documented cars trade past $1 million, with Hemis at the top of the pyramid. The cars nobody wanted new become the cars everybody wants later, provided they were built for a reason. The Daytona was built to win. Subscribe for more Big Block Radio.